Today, if you order a product from an online store, it arrives at your home after a few days. But think about this. There was once a time when there were no airplanes, no cargo ships, and no highways. Yet a single fabric, silk, would leave China and somehow reach Rome, thousands of kilometers away. During this journey, it had to cross deserts, dangerous mountains, and regions where returning alive was almost impossible. And still, traders took this risk. Why? Because this trade route created something that connects the entire world today, the global economy. And it all started with a legendary network, a network that history calls the Silk Road, a simple trade route that changed the world. The Silk Road was not a single road, it was actually a huge network of trade routes that connected Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. Its length was more than 6,000 kilometers. It started in China, passed through Central Asia, then reached the Middle East and Europe. Along these routes, traders, merchants, and travelers were constantly moving. Some were carrying silk, some spices, some gold and precious stones. But the most interesting part is this: the Silk Road was not built by a single empire. It slowly developed over hundreds of years as different civilizations began trading with each other. And eventually, it became the most important trade network in the world. The obsession with silk. When people hear the name Silk Road, the first question that comes to mind is this: why was silk so important? In ancient China, silk was a luxury product. The fabric was soft, shiny, and extremely rare. When it reached Europe and the Roman Empire, people were literally amazed by it. Roman elites began treating silk as a symbol of status. Only the rich could afford it. Some Roman writers even complained that because of silk, Rome's gold was flowing into China. And there was another secret. China kept the process of making silk a secret for centuries. Because of that, the rest of the world could only buy silk, but they could not produce it. That is why the value of silk became incredibly high. The dangerous life of Silk Road traders. Trading on the Silk Road was not easy at all. These journeys did not last for months. Sometimes they lasted years. Travelers had to cross some of the most dangerous places in the world, like the Taklamakan Desert. People even called it the Desert of Death, because if a traveler got lost there, finding their way back was almost impossible. Then came the Pamir Mountains. These mountains were so high and dangerous that even a small mistake could cost someone their life. And there was another threat: bandits. Armed robbers often attacked caravans to steal valuable goods. That is why traders rarely traveled alone. They moved in large caravans, sometimes with hundreds of camels. Each camel carried valuable goods: silk, spices, gold, jewelry. One successful journey could make a trader rich, but one mistake could destroy everything. What actually traveled on the Silk Road? Many people think the Silk Road existed only for silk trade, but in reality, dozens of different goods traveled through these routes. From China came silk, paper, porcelain, and tea. From India came spices, cotton, and precious stones. From the Middle East came glass, perfumes, and fine textiles. And from Europe came gold, silver, and wine. But there was one more thing that traveled along the Silk Road, something even more powerful: ideas. The road that connected cultures. The Silk Road did not just exchange goods, it connected civilizations. People from different cultures met each other for the first time. Languages were shared, traditions were exchanged, religions spread. For example, Buddhism traveled from India to China through the Silk Road. Papermaking technology moved from China to the Middle East and later to Europe. This invention later helped spread books and knowledge across the world. Slowly, if the Silk Road had never existed, the cultural development of the world might have been very different. The birth of the first global economy. Historians consider the Silk Road special for another reason. They call it the world's first global economy. For the first time in history, distant civilizations became economically connected. For example, if silk production increased in China, silk prices in Rome could fall. If war disrupted trade in Central Asia, merchants in other regions would feel the impact. In other words, one region's economy began affecting another region, exactly the way it happens in the modern world today. Why the Silk Road eventually disappeared. The Silk Road remained active for centuries, but over time the world began to change. New technologies appeared. Ships became more powerful. Ocean trade routes were discovered. Sea routes were faster and safer than long desert journeys. Because of that, traders gradually started using sea routes instead of land routes. Slowly, the importance of the Silk Road began to decline.
By the 15th century, this legendary trade network had almost disappeared, the legacy that still exists today. Today, the Silk Road may no longer exist physically, but its impact can still be seen in the world. It connected the East and the West. It mixed cultures. It spread ideas and inventions across continents. And most important, it taught the world an important lesson. Trade does not only create wealth. Trade connects civilizations. Ending line, retention close. So the next time you see a product that was made in another country, remember something. Global trade is not a modern invention. Its roots go back thousands of years to a time when brave traders crossed deserts with camels and connected the world through the legendary Silk Road.